Welcome to a short presentation prepared by WYG in support of the East Lothian Council Sustainable Travel Hub. This presentation has been prepared to provide additional information in support of the site option and appraisal process and should be considered in conjunction with the public engagement event materials provided on display in Haddington Town Centre, February 24th and 25th, 2020. This presentation will include the following sections: introduction to the proposal, the need for change, the need for a sustainable travel hub, December consultation event, consideration of feedback, appraisal criteria, evaluation of original 10 sites, evaluation of additional sites, sites for further consideration, preferred option, feedback and next steps. ELC have for a number of years been monitoring and planning changes to the town centre of Haddington in response to continual pressures resulting from climate change, population growth and maintaining the vitality of the high street. During the last 2 years, ELC have worked with a number of consultants and stakeholders to develop a range of proposals for Haddington Town Centre. A key finding of these studies relates to the role of parking and parking management, as well as how parking can both benefit and detract from the town centre, affecting local business vitality, public health, and introduce other associated environmental impacts. Haddington, as the main administrative centre within East Lothian, shares the same challenges as most other towns experiencing development growth within the surrounding area. As housing is delivered, the town centre becomes busier as more and more people choose to use the town to access local services. However, the town has a limited amount of parking provision, most being provided and utilised within the long stay car park or the privately owned Tesco car park. It is important to remember that the largest employer within the area is ELC itself, and as such, the staff employed within this business make use of local services. Haddington is also a thriving retail, social and service centre for the county, and many other people work in the town in a variety of businesses. Many people walk, cycle and use public transport to get to work, but as they arrive to work from a range of locations spread across East Lothian area and beyond, many also choose to drive and park. East Lothian Council is currently the largest employer in the town. The ELC staff car park is ideally located for use by town centre visitors, although it is currently fully utilised by ELC staff. To address the parking supply challenge, ELC are seeking to develop proposals for a new car park that will be used for predominantly long stay parking. The car park will operate as part of the town centre and must therefore be located close to the town centre to support its intended use. The site will support future sustainable use, such as and include electric vehicle charging points, cycle storage and hire, as well as supporting access to local bus services. This means the development is much more than just a car park and is in fact a sustainable travel hub. Drivers travelling to Haddington will be able to park for longer periods and have the option to use a bike or simply walk into town to go to work or use services. By creating new long stay parking at Whittingham Drive, some existing long stay car parking in the town centre could be redesignated for short stay use. This would include the potential redesignation of the existing Tesco long stay car park. The status of the car park at John Muir House would be reviewed to consider potential for an area to be available for wider public use. This would mean that more short stay spaces would be available in the town centre, helping to strengthen the local economy by supporting higher footfall to local businesses. Following a review of 10 potential sites, a preferred site on Whittingham Drive has been selected. The first public consultation event was held during December 2019 and sought to present information on the option selection process and gain valuable feedback. The event was publicised on East Lothian Council's Facebook and Twitter pages and an announcement in the East Lothian Courier. On the night, over 300 people attended and gave their feedback to the project team and council officers present. From analysis of the feedback received, several key points were made. These were: a lack of understanding regarding how far ELC have progressed with the site selection process. Concerns that Whittingham Drive site is too far from the town centre to attract people to park, with suggestions that another site to the west of Haddington would be preferable. Concerns about inadequate enforcement of current parking across the town, with suggestions that this should take priority over new parking supply. Concerns about inappropriate parking and exclusive use of ELC's own car park within the town centre. Concerns that the Whittingham Drive site is poorly accessible for the elderly or those with mobility impairments. Concerns that developing the proposed site would negatively impact local business. Concerns that residents are too dependent on cars and that ELC should instead focus on reducing travel by car. Concerns that the scheme would introduce dangers for children crossing to the skate park or football ground. Concerns that the scheme will only shift parking problems elsewhere. Support for ELC looking to develop active travel and cycling infrastructure in Haddington to address problematic parking. Some consultees felt that the support of local bus services would be better serve the town than additional parking. Agreement that the scheme would move long-stay parking out of the town centre, and agreement that the scheme would reduce parking pressures on the key local streets such as Market Street, Hardgate, Church Street, High Street, Langrigs, and other residential areas. Building on the first engagement event and the feedback received, additional details supporting the site selection was requested. Some of those included alternative options that weren't included in the presentation and additional information on proposed changes for the town centre. The preferred site at Whittingham Drive has been identified through an option appraisal process undertaken by ELC officers. The appraisal considered a wide range of options and utilised principles of good practice as set out within the Scottish Government's Scottish Transport Appraisal Guidance, STAG. The principles of STAG support objective, transparent and unbiased decision making. The 10 initial sites were appraised by ELC officers based on a number of criteria, including affordability, land availability, site size, location relative to the town centre, environmental and traffic flow impacts in the town centre, and proximity to a bus route. The appraisal study identified Whittingham Drive site as the preferred option using the key selection criteria and is consistent with the normal best practice adopted in any public funded options appraisal. While providing additional long and short stay parking in Haddington was the primary goal, other measures like upgrading local bus services and managing existing sources of parking using wardens were also considered. While these measures would provide some benefits, they would have excessive costs. With parking wardens, for example, the costs associated with the additional wardens patrolling would need to be offset by the revenue generated by parking charges or penalty notices in the town. Following the December engagement event, a further 7 potential sites for the hub were identified. Some of the additional sites include parcels of land at Hospital Road or Hardgate, as recommended by attendees during the last consultation. You can see a map of these now. For consistency, all 17 sites were reconsidered for potential development and evaluated using the same scoring criteria. Whilst the process of site selection is ultimately subjective in nature, what is critical is the fair and balanced framework against which the options are considered. Specific criteria were developed with the appraisal process to best represent the aims and considerations of the development. These include: can the site accommodate the 200 parking spaces required? Is the site located on affordable and available land? Is the land feasible to develop in the short term? Does the site give convenient access to the town centre? Is it located within a 5-minute walk? Can the site be accessed by all abilities on foot, by bike and by bus? And will the site have an impact on the local environment and protected areas? A scoring system of 3 to -3 has been used in evaluating the options and is the easiest way to show which could potentially bring the most benefit. The results of this are shown in the current and following slide. While some sites do score highly and would otherwise be preferred, these cannot be delivered due to issues like land ownership, accessibility, or because they provide too few parking spaces to be viable. Considering the options, a combination of sites 2 and 10 at Whittingham Drive, which were ranked the highest, were taken forward to become the preferred option for development. Since the December engagement event, the preferred option on Whittingham Drive has been investigated further from the outline to become a concept, then preliminary design. A few rendered images shown in the following slides have been developed for the event to show you what the sustainable travel hub might look like should it be constructed. The development would include cycle parking and vehicle charging points, including wide parking bays and pedestrian walking aisles to maximise pedestrian safety within the development. The access to the area would be reworked to provide a large raised table supporting pedestrian crossing of Whittingham Drive, whilst the inclusion of build-outs will reduce vehicle speeds and limit the width of the road for pedestrians to cross around half of the current width. Landscaping and drainage will be included to minimise the visual impact of the development, with lighting provided at low level, again to minimise visual impact. The development will provide a significant improvement to the current sand-rutted parking and will provide much-needed parking to accommodate weekend football games and reduce car parking on Whittingham Drive. The Sustainable Travel Hub provides a real opportunity to deal with some of the existing and future parking issues in the town, providing much-needed longer stay parking, allowing current parking with the town centre to be repurposed, meeting the needs of visitors and passing trade. Thanks for listening to the short presentation. I'd like to encourage you now to continue around the venue and have a look at all the other material that's been prepared. The project team would be happy to hear your thoughts or to answer any questions that you might have. The best way to contribute is to give us your direct feedback by filling out a form or participating in our online survey. You can find the details of these around the hall, and the team would be happy to help if you need any assistance.